Welcome to Israel Now News on God TV. I'm Yochanan El Rom.
And I'm Rebecca Rand.
In our top story, incumbent Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's ruling Likud party has won Israel's national elections. Netanyahu is now tasked with forming a coalition of 61 seats in order to establish a new government. If he's unable to do so, President Reuven Rivlin will turn to Netanyahu's left-leaning opponent and runner-up, Benny Gantz, to allow him the unlikely opportunity to cobble together the necessary majority. The election authority proudly reported the highest voter turnout in 21 years, this despite being the third round of national elections in just 12 months. We at Israel Now News will continue to keep you informed and up to date on developments related to the formation of the 23rd Israeli Knesset.
The Jewish state continues to work to combat the deadly coronavirus and is applying innovative technology to diagnose and treat the contagion. The Bat Am company based in Hod Sharon has announced the development of a fast test to accurately diagnose coronavirus. The company said that its test has been successfully verified by several laboratories and that its quick diagnostic kit has met the criteria set out by the Centers for Disease Control. In another exciting development, an Israeli medical research group has announced that it is just weeks away from developing a vaccine for coronavirus. State-funded Migdal Galilee Research Institute discovered similarities between the recent outbreak and an infectious bronchitis pathogen. Migdal is now working to adapt its IBV vaccine to combat the coronavirus. The company's CEO, David Zagdon, said, "Our goal is to produce the vaccine during the next few weeks and to achieve safety approval in 90 days.
The Austrian parliament has unanimously passed a resolution against the anti-Israel boycott, divest, and sanctions movement and has rejected all forms of anti-Semitism, including anti-Zionism. The new law allows the government in Vienna to withhold federal funds from anti-Israel organizations and individuals, including those involved in the BDS activities. Austria is not alone in working to combat the anti-Semitism. Rebecca has more on that story.
Yes, Yochanan. A gathering of European leaders have publicly condemned anti-Semitism and have vowed to fight it. The annual policy conference for the European Jewish Association in Paris was attended by anti-Semitism envoys from the United States, the United Kingdom, Italy, and UNESCO. The mayor of Paris told the delegation that there is a new form of anti-Semitism, which is anti-Zionism. Anne Hidalgo went on to say that attacking Jews is an act against humanity, and she said the mayors of European countries are standing beside Jews because combating anti-Semitism is not only a Jewish affair, it's a European and human affair, so we cannot surrender.
United States military involvement in Afghanistan could be coming to an end with the signing of an accord between American officials and leaders of the Taliban. The U.S. Embassy in Kabul called the agreement a historic opportunity. The two sides agreed on a time frame to withdraw foreign soldiers from the war-shattered country. Afghanistan made an enemy of the United States by harboring the mastermind of the 9/11 terror attacks, along with providing a safe haven for al-Qaeda terrorists. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was present at the signing in the Qatari capital of Doha, where he called on the Taliban to keep its promises and cut ties with al-Qaeda. President Trump already announced U.S. troop withdrawals starting in just a few weeks, but he stressed that the entire deal would be nullified if the Taliban did not fulfill their commitments.
The Jerusalem municipality has made the exciting announcement that it plans to build a train line directly from Ben Gurion Airport to the Western Wall. The line will be an extension of the high-speed track that already runs from Tel Aviv to the Holy City in just 32 minutes. The project will require the construction of a 1.8-mile-long tunnel, which will stretch under downtown Jerusalem and the Old City. Once completed, the high-speed train can take passengers directly from the airport to the holiest site in Judaism, the Western Wall, in about 20 minutes. Israel's former transportation minister announced that the rail line will be named after U.S. President Donald J. Trump, who made history by recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital.
Representatives from Qatar, the United Nations, and the Jewish state met in Jerusalem to discuss the deteriorating situation in Gaza. Israeli Major General Camille Abu Roken hosted the Qatari envoy and the United Nations Special Coordinator for the Middle East peace process in the Holy City. The delegation discussed the continuing violence originating from the Gaza Strip after terrorists in the Hamas-run coastal enclave fired more than 100 rockets into Israeli communities.
The Arab world continues to deny the Palestinian people a chance at a peaceful future by inciting Arabs to violence. Palestinian officials have begun petitioning Arab states to oppose President Trump's peace plan, known as the deal of the century, and have doubled down on the price they're willing to pay to conquer all of Israel and ultimately push the Jews into the sea. The Palestinian representative to Iraq recently delivered a fiery televised address where he not only praised terror but glorified child martyrs. He promised that the Palestinians would continue to fight against the peace deal and to strive to resist Israel and America until the last drop of a Palestinian child's blood.
A group of Israeli NGOs are taking steps to call attention to the plight of child soldiers forced to work for Arab terror groups. The Coalition to Save Palestinian Child Soldiers is seeking to raise international awareness about the abuse of children by the Palestinian Authority and other radical organizations. The group revealed that for decades, Palestinian children have fulfilled the role of combatants, human shields, rioters, laborers, and even as suicide bombers. It notes that more than 10,000 children train in Gazan terror camps each year, and that more than 160 children have died digging terror tunnels for Hamas. The coalition is hoping that public pressure on the Palestinian groups will force them to stop using children to fight their battles.
Tel Shomer's Sheba Medical Center has been recognized among the 10 best hospitals in the world. Its ranking of 9th place on Newsweek magazine's list is a slight improvement from last year. Sheba Medical Center is Israel's largest hospital and research facility. Nearly 25% of all clinical research in the startup nation is performed there. Former IDF Surgeon General Professor Yitzhak Kreis has headed the hospital since 2016. He praised the more than 9,000 employees that work at Sheba Medical Center and said that the ranking reflects another year of excellent and advanced medicine, breakthrough research, and world-leading innovation.
An Israeli athlete was the first woman to finish the Tokyo Marathon. Lona Chemtai Salpeter completed the race in 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 45 seconds, beating her own personal time and setting a new women's record for the course. Salpeter was born in Kenya and moved to Israel in 2011. She ran for the Israeli team in Rio de Janeiro during the 2016 Olympics, and a year later she won the Florence Marathon. She holds several Israeli records for running, including the 10,000-meter race, as well as the half marathon. And she will likely represent the Jewish state in the 2020 Olympics, which will begin in July in Tokyo, Japan.
The Jewish state has welcomed 43 new immigrants from Ethiopia. These African Jews are members of a lost tribe of Israel whose ancestors were forcibly converted to Christianity several generations ago. Concentrated in the Ethiopian city of Gondar, the Falashmura have come back to Judaism and are waiting to return to their ancestral homeland. The immigration of these 43 Ethiopian Jews is part of a larger plan funded by Keren Hayesod to relocate 400 members of their community, ultimately reuniting 60 families in Israel. Many see their aliyah as the fulfillment of the biblical prophecy of the ingathering of the exiles.
A revolutionary new treatment for people suffering from malignant brain tumors has become available in Israel. This cutting-edge technology uses electronic pulses to penetrate glioblastomas. These pulses, or tumor-treating fields, enter the cancer cells and simultaneously attract and repel charged proteins during the cell's division process. This prevents the cancer cells from replicating while causing minimal damage to surrounding tissue. The helmet-like device called Optune was created by Novocure, an Israeli biotech company, and Professor Yoram Palti from the Technion Institute of Technology in Haifa.
In environmental news, a killer whale was spotted off the coast of northern Israel near Akko. Scientists believe that the orca, called Riptide, was separated from his herd leaving Iceland and has been spotted off the coasts of Italy and Lebanon. The Orca Guardians organization identified the whale by distinct markings on his head. They released a statement saying that the whale's 8,000-kilometer journey is just incredible, and they noted that this is the longest known distance traveled by any killer whale to date. Israeli marine biologist Dr. Aviad Shchainen said, This is something that you see very rarely, if at all, in our region.
Hikers in Israel often discover archaeological artifacts while trekking through the Holy Land. But a group of adventurers recently uncovered an item which has brought back memories to the family of a fallen Israeli Air Force pilot. The group was hiking along the Paran River near the Jordanian border when they discovered the helmet of deceased IAF pilot Danny Gorey. Army officials, including representatives from the Unit 669, the IDF's elite search and rescue team, were dispatched to the area to recover the helmet and verify its ownership. Gorey's daughter, Donna, who was born 2 months after her father's tragic death in 1984, was ecstatic about the discovery of her late father's flight helmet and told Israeli media that she is very grateful for this token of her father's service.
The former Israeli soldier who was held hostage by Hamas for 5 years has announced that he is getting married. Gilad Shalit was captured by Hamas terrorists in June of 2006 in a cross-border raid. The 19-year-old soldier was taken hostage and forced into Gaza through an illegal subterranean terror tunnel. Gilad was held in unimaginable conditions by the terrorists and was eventually released in October of 2011 in exchange for 1,027 Palestinian terrorists. This seemingly controversial move was supported by 79% of Israelis, who prayed for his well-being and for his release. Gilad became a national hero and the adopted son of every Israeli. His recovery has been anticipated by the Jewish people, and the news of his engagement was met with the traditional celebratory phrase, Mazel Tov. That concludes the news portion of our show. Stay tuned for Ask the Source with Josh Wrightstein.
Hello and welcome to Ask the Source. I'm your host Josh Wrightstein and we're here in our beautiful studio in Jerusalem. My guest today is Rabbi Yishai Fleischer. He's the international spokesperson for the city of Hebron. Yishai, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Josh. Good to see you.
I'm a huge fan of Hebron. You know I'm always there. I come there. I bring people there. Tell us what's new in Hebron.
Well, before I tell you what's new, how about I tell you what's old, It's a 3,800-year-old city. Abraham was there over 3,000 years ago, and that's where he buried his beloved wife, Sarah, and he made there a kind of monument for the rest of the biblical family. So we're talking about Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rebekah, Jacob and Leah. It's a city of couples. It's a city of love. What's the tagline for Virginia? Virginia is for lovers, right? So Hebron, it's for lovers. And I think that really, whenever you come to Israel, you want to come to the Galilee, you want to come to Jerusalem, you want to check out the fast pace of Tel Aviv, you need to come and give a little bit of love to the fathers and the mothers, because all of us, at the end, Jews, Christians, anybody who's part of really monotheism and Western morality, the source, you said ask the source, right? The source is really Abraham, and that's found in Hebron.
What's ironic about Hebron is that it's documented in the Bible that Abraham purchased the land. He wouldn't even take it as a gift. He purchased it, so it would be in no dispute that this is the land of the Jewish people for all generations, yet it's probably the most disputed territory in Israel. Explain that dichotomy.
If the places that are supposed to be not disputed are the places that give us a foundation in this land. So if you want to get us off of this land, you want to dispute those specific foundations. So we're talking about really three places that the Bible says were purchased by the Jewish people. The tomb of the patriarchs and matriarchs in Hebron, the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, and the tomb of Joseph in Shechem or Nablus. It's all the same place. These places were purchased by the forefathers, by King David, by Jacob, and by Abraham. And so the enemies of the Jewish people that want to see us off of this land want us off of those specific places. Those are, ironically, as you said, on the one hand, those places are indisputable. On the other hand, those are exactly the places that the enemies of Israel want to dispute, and they want to force us out of there physically, with violence and with terrorism, or they want to claim we were never there and erase our history, sometimes using international bodies like UNESCO to say, hey, the Jewish people were really never here. This tomb in Hebron is actually a Palestinian World Heritage Site, in danger from Israel. So that's the various tricks that the enemies use to erase Jewish presence in these places.
Look, you mentioned the international organizations, but even the Jewish organizations that are designed to rebuild the land of Israel aren't really involved in Hebron. The Jewish National Fund, they don't build in Hebron. Why aren't they getting involved with this?
Yeah, well, you know, Josh, in the 90s, we went into a whole period where we thought that we'd get peace through giving away our land. Okay, there was a whole idea of land for peace. And so many of the the State of Israel's organizations kind of pulled out and were like, we're not going to touch these areas that were liberated in the Six-Day War because maybe they'll be somehow given away to the Palestinian Authority to control, and thereby we'll have peace. That was the idea of the 90s and the early 2000s. Well, all that exploded. The idea of giving away land in the Middle East doesn't make sense. The enemies just use it as a forward base for jihadist attack. And also, biblically speaking, it doesn't make sense. You don't give away your ancestral homeland. You don't give away the places that were purchased by the fathers and the mothers to really establish Jewish presence here. So these Jewish organizations were stuck because the state was stuck about dealing with these places. Now we're starting to come back from the 90s and into a more sane policy, which is that we are going to hold on to these lands. They're not disputed. They're actually the Israeli territories. They're the heartland of Israel. And so now the JNF is starting to wake up. We have a big election coming up in something called the American Zionist Movement, which is part of the World Zionist Congress, azm.org. Now, anybody who self-identifies as Jewish can get in there and vote. You have to pay $7.50, but then you get an opportunity to really impact where billions of dollars are spent in Israel by Jewish organizations.
So wait, how could our viewers then get involved and help with this?
It's really easy. And it's actually, not only is it easy, it's super empowering. You just go to azm.org. AZM is American Zionist Movement. And if you self-identify as a Jew, if you've got $7.50 to pay for the future of Israel, if you're an American citizen and with an American credit card and an address, you can vote. And there are a few slates that are just great slates.
For example, who's supporting Hebron on those lists?
So you have, I think there are really 4 excellent slates right now. There's the ZOA slate, which is like the copy of the Likud, Israel's Likud. That's the Prime Minister's party in America. It's run by the ZOA, which is the Zionist Organization of America, but it's a big slate, a lot of organizations. That's one. Another one is called Visions, and it's really about young people, being college young people who are conservative, with us, strong, and they're going to lead the way. Another one is the OU and Mizrahi. That's the Orthodox Jews. That's the Torah-believing, Bible-following Jews. They have a slate. And also Cherut, which is the old Jabotinsky Begin kind of brand. They're running together. These are 4 excellent slates that you could vote for. But if you don't vote for them, the other side's going to get it, and that's slates that are...
So wait, let's talk about that for a second. You know, I understand that there are very anti-Zionist organizations that are actually running in the American Zionist movement. How's that even possible?
Well, they wouldn't call themselves anti-Zionist. They would just say that the future of Israel is to be a multicultural, globalist, progressive, all the stuff that that in America the ultra-liberal world represents. They have that in Israel as well. They see themselves as Zionists, but they want to give away parts of the land of Israel to create a Palestine in the heartland, etc. So listen, they have a right for their opinion, to their opinion, and we have a right to voice our opinion. And the way to do it is to jump in there and just vote, and vote for the conservative, the Torah following, the Bible following, the holding onto the land of Israel, and really the way that the Prime Minister of Israel, which is Benjamin Netanyahu, is leading us the way, which is to be sovereign in the land of Israel, sovereignty.
There are literally tens of millions of people watching this show. What message do you have for our viewing audience?
Well, I have 2 messages. One message is come visit Hebron, right? Show the world that you're not afraid, and show the world that you believe that Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rebekah, Jacob and Leah are buried in Hebron. And therefore, when you show up there, you give homage to those great people, and you also strengthen tourism, you strengthen the faith, you strengthen Israel to understand this is an important place. And the other thing is you could just take out your credit card and vote for a stronger, more conservative, more biblical Israel by going to azm.org. Look at the 15 slates that are there. It'll be obvious to you who's for you and who's not for your values.
Thank you, Yishai, for being on the show. And thank you for tuning in to Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein. Now back to the studio.
Up Next, the return to Zion with Karen Hayesod.
Shalom and welcome to the Return to Zion with Karen Hayesod. I'm Sam Grunberg, World Chairman of Karen Hayesod, the leading official fundraising organization for the State of Israel. The story of the Exodus boat is one of Karen Hayesod's most famous operations. Listen to the first-hand testimony of one of the brave women who fulfilled her biblical destiny by coming home.
As the dark clouds gathered over Europe, the door to the land of Israel was not yet open. Under Arab League pressure, the British ruthlessly restricted Jewish immigration. Karen Hayesod, alongside Jews already in the land of Israel, banded together and launched the clandestine naval operation, codenamed Aliyah Bet, to save their brethren from the clutches of Nazi Germany and bring them to Israel.
כשנגמרה המלחמה התחילו להתארגן יהודים לנסוע בחזרה לפולניה. ההורים שלי החליטו שהם רוצים להגיע לארץ. התחלנו לעבור את כל אירופה לכיוון מרסיי.
With careful organization and ingenuity, these brave souls defied the British authorities. Makeshift, rickety boats set sail from ports across Europe, transporting a wretched human cargo of men, women, and children desperately seeking refuge.
הגיע יום שאספו אותנו והתחלנו להתקדם. זה לקח אולי יום וחצי עד שאנחנו צעדנו בתוך מרסיי, וככה לאט לאט הגענו לאוניית האקסודוס.
Upon its arrival to the port of Haifa, the ship was deported back to Europe, thus making it a symbol of the many hardships Jews had to face during the time of Aliyah, immigrating to their historical homeland.
ראינו את אוניות הבריטים, המשחטות שלהם, מסביב כמו דגי טרף כל הזמן. כמו שאנחנו נסענו, הם נסעו. ואז הגיע היום, ראינו שהאוניות מתחילות להתקרב אלינו, וגם ראינו את חיפה, את האורות כבר. וכולם התחילו לשמוח מאוד שרואים אורות, אבל אני מבינה שהיו אנשים שהבינו שמתחיל קרב וזה. הם התחילו לשחק כדורגל, האנגלים עם האונייה. אחד נתן דחיפה ימינה, השני שמאלה, והאונייה התחילה להתפרק כמו לגו. בחיפה הורידו את האנשים, עשו עליהם פליט עם כל הכעס שהיה להם, והעבירו אותנו לאוניות, לשלוש אוניות. זו הייתה אוניית אסירים, הם זרקו את כל התרמילים, אנשים נשארו כמו שעלו, בלי בגדים, בלי שום כלום.
Undeterred, the overcrowded, unseaworthy vessels of Aliyah Bet continued to challenge the blockade. Young Jewish fighters, aided by their non-Jewish sailors, succeeded in bringing more than 70,000 Jews home to the land of their forefathers in more than 100 vessels.
עם ישראל צריך להיות כולו בארץ ישראל. זה ראינו בכל הדורות.
Those who made it ashore were swiftly smuggled into the future Jewish state by daring activists from Karen Hayesod and elsewhere. Evading capture, the new arrivals were taken to kibbutzim and other new communities to live as free Jews in their own land, fulfilling the dreams of countless generations before them. And in doing so, they brought to life Zechariah's prophecy, not by might and not by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord.
זה המקום היחיד שאתה יודע שאתה בארץ שלך, על הקרקע שלך, כמו כל עם נורמלי אחר.
To this day, Karen Hayesod is helping Jews around the world come home with the help of Jews and non-Jews alike.
Let's bless Israel together.
Now's the time for you to get involved. Assist Karen HaYesod to raise the necessary funds in order to bring Jews yearning for their homeland back to Israel. Your donation can help fulfill the biblical prophecy today. To donate and get information, visit our website at www.khisrael.org.
I'm going to say something now that some of you will not believe. But I'm going to say it anyway, because it's true. I, the Prime Minister of Israel, care more about Palestinians than their own leaders do. Israel cares more about Palestinians than their own leaders do. That sounds incredible, right? But consider the following. A few days ago, the world learned that Hamas, the terrorist organization that rules Gaza, stole millions of dollars from humanitarian organizations like World Vision and the United Nations. Innocent and impoverished Palestinians were denied vital aid supplied from nations around the world. Hamas used the stolen money to build a war machine to murder Jews. I want you to think about that. Let that sink in. Hamas stole critical support for Palestinian children so that they could kill our children. So I ask you, who cares more about Palestinians? Israel, that facilitates the entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza every single day? Or Hamas, that robs Palestinian children of that very same aid? Israel, that treats wounded Palestinians from Gaza in its hospitals? Or Hamas, that prevents injured Palestinians from getting help? Imagine, just imagine, where we might all be if Palestinian leaders cared as much about helping their own people as they did about hurting our people. The Palestinian people deserve better. And today I express my deepest sympathy with innocent Palestinians and those well-meaning nations who generously donated money to help them. The cynicism and cruelty of Hamas is hurting all of us. It's hurting peace.
Lift up your eyes and look around. All your children gather and come to you. The biblical prophecy is unfolding right before our very eyes. The people of Israel are returning to the Promised Land after 2,000 years of exile. But millions of Jews are still longing to come home. Anti-Semitism threatens many of the Jews. We must rescue them before the window of opportunity slams shut. Bless Israel by supporting Karen HaYesod United Israel Appeal, the leading official fundraising organization for the State of Israel. Together, we can fulfill the prophecy of the Bible.
Let's bless Israel together.
To donate and get information, visit our website at www.khisrael.org.
That's all for this edition of Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El-Rom.
And I'm Rebecca Rand, reporting from our studio in Jerusalem. Please join us next week for all of your Israel updates.